Hey, Dr. Hammer, welcome to the Big Comfy Couch midterm edition.
Ooh.
Special.
I'm Kirsten.
I'm Hannah.
I'm Justin.
G-Ram.
So we watched Next Floor, and we thought there's like a couple different like perspectives on how you could view it. There's like the capitalistic view of it or the religious view of it. Both fit the bill. I mean, yes, yes.
Or do we like it, first of all?
That's fine.
It was alright.
We wouldn't recommend it to anyone.
It was a little weird, but it was...
Liked it, but they wouldn't recommend it.
It
It was like well done in the fact that there was a lot of depth to it, and
Social
you
commentary.
really have to think about it. But
It wouldn't appeal to the youth.
right, so necessarily, even though it was well made, doesn't mean we'd recommend it.
And I think since there are two ways you can look at it, like religiously or like through capitalism, that makes it a really good film.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like the multiple storylines, but in kind of like the views, like the lenses at which you watch it.
So should we start with the religious one?
Yeah.
Um,
So we kind of talked about it in class.
Yeah.
Mainly how it's like Dante's Inferno, like the layers of hell, and like how they keep damning themselves to get further and further, and how it's not the servants who's causing their downfall, but rather themselves.
At each level, they become more like grotesque. The food gets like messier and bloodier.
Yeah.
It's more like animalist or animal-like, and then
They do it to themselves. Like they realize that they're all damned. Like the woman starts crying and eating herself.
And like in the beginning, one of the ladies was like using a napkin and like was showing her manners and like being very polite about eating. And then in the end, they're just like taking
Stuffing.
food off of each other's plates.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of plays into like the beginning song, which is like a very tribal-esque song, very like raw human nature kind of thing, and then it turns to like this very proper song. Hey, Colin. Turns into like a very proper song, and they all act very proper, and then downfall.
And like in the first floor, when they're using their manners and like being more proper, you have the like workers or whatever playing their instruments, like playing more high class songs. Whereas when they're like being more savage, there's no music being played for them.
We also looked up like, so there's like 11 people sitting at the table. We don't. This might be like kind of stretch. The number 11 represents like disorder, chaos, and judgment. And I don't know if it ties
In the
into
Bible.
it. Yeah, in the Bible, and I don't know if it ties to it, but like the offended kings, which like talks about like 11 different kings who were offended by God's servants. And I don't know if that really ties into it, but kind of overlaps nicely.
we also saw that it was kind of obvious, but as the levels went down, the workers needed more like flashlights because it got darker. I think that's kind of like the more, like the deeper they get into the levels of hell, and obviously they like break through and kind of hit the eternal ness of the.
Yeah, when they just keep going and they don't stop.
It almost becomes like an uncontrollable because they, one, can't stop falling, and two, like they're taking each other's foods, they're like feeding each other, they're being
More
force
greedy.
fed. Like it gets to an excessive point of uncontrollable.
We also noticed the main guy that's at the very beginning and the very end. He could be seen as like Satan. Like he's telling the workers and he's like telling them to like feed them the food, which is kind of tempting the people that are in hell, but then they're doing it to themselves. So he could be seen as a Satan character.
They're like taking a bite from the apple.
Yeah.
But the workers are giving it to them.
Um,
And then kind of the capital. You want to do the capitalist video? We had more.
Yeah.
anything else from?
I mean, other than religious, like
More thing for religious is like when they were falling into eternal hell. Well, the floor right before they just kept falling, they were like stealing things off of each other's plates. But then once they were falling, they were like holding on to each other and like trying to get each other to help them, like because they were falling so quickly that they were like leaning to the side, so they were like.
and yet like it was
Facing
funny.
each
It was like
other.
kind of weird how like they were expecting to fall and expecting to like kind of go and like knowingly damning themselves and yet whenever they would fall, they would scream, and like it was just kind of ironic there. Like they were still surprised, they were still, I don't know, like not expecting it.
Yeah, I think that's like social commentary. Like we're aware of our own vices, but we don't care. It's kind of irrational in a sense, like human nature.
Or the hypocrisy of it, kind of. Like,
Yeah.
we can point out other people's, and then like we know ourselves, but we don't do anything about ourselves.
Like we would look down on like alcoholics, and then we like
Go out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
exactly.
How are you doing?
Tuesday, Wednesday, so capitalism.
Um,
So that's another light that we saw this movie and like the purpose of it.
oh nuts. So since this is a French film, I don't think it pertains to like capitalism in
French
America.
Canadian film.
Is it really? Is it French Canadian?
Canadian.
Okay, because I didn't know if it dealt with like France or America in general, but like
Canada's very like socialist kind of, like very liberal.
yeah,
That was like the undertone of this movie.
yeah, and
definitely.
like talks about like we looked it up and it had to deal with like neoliberalism and how like you have the working class and you have these like people who are supporting the upper class and like there's this really nice picture of like capitalism. What? Oh,
It's the hierarchy.
like the capitalistic hierarchy,
Like a pyramid.
Looks like a
and you literally have the working class like holding up the table of the dining upper class, and just like this, like the working class will continue to feed and feed and feed these upper class people, but aren't causing their downfall. It's like the upper class of society that's causing it.
And it's also like a loop. Like they're greedy, so they fall through, so they eat more. I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, I think there's social commentary on the fact that there was 8 guys and 3 girls, and that kind of like
Shows the
talks about
imbalance.
the unbalance and like I guess bias that we see in like upper class America or wherever.
And it brings up like a really interesting point that like the butlers don't cause a revolution. Like they know that every time like the floor is gonna fall and they're aware of like the inevitable downfall. And it's just the upper class themselves. Like
Also, it kind of when they fall for the first time, the like main butler guy, the main guy that's like in the beginning and the end, he like has a little notebook, and when he opens it, like kind of chain of paper falls out, and he makes like a little tick as if like he's marking every time they fall. So it almost seems like it picks up in the middle, like it's kind of a constant thing that's like happened for a long time and nothing's really changing it. I don't know.
Yeah, because also when they fall and you look up at the chandelier,
Yeah, it's
you
like
can like, see all
multiple
the other levels.
and like because whenever we said it was like the different layers of hell, like there wasn't 7 distinct layers, or else that would I'd say like definitely religious connotation. Like this one was like continuous, and it made a continuous loop, and kind of showed the continuous loop of like capitalism, and how it's just like they're inevitably going to fall and continue on forever, and how even though like the people might change, not shown in this, it is like a never-ending sort of thing.
We also talked about how the workers, working class, would like follow after them, and they'd like try to get ahead one time, but then they just fell straight through like more floors. So I guess it just shows that like no matter how hard they work, they're never going to catch up to the elitists in the society as working class.
Yeah, they're always a step behind. And then also for the women, the one lady, when they were on the bottom floor, she was more reserved and like more hesitant to start eating again, even after all the men had already started. And that's just saying like, I don't know, they don't really do anything on, or like society would say women can't do things on their own, like they have to have permission to.
I think it also says like that she was. You're talking about the girl that was hesitant, like
Yeah,
stopped eating and crying.
Yeah, she started crying too.
So she sees like the bad side effects of capitalism in this sense, but she doesn't do anything to stop it.
Yeah, and then she just starts stealing stuff, so she becomes
She like
An enabler, I guess.
well, yeah, she realizes like it's never gonna end, and they're gonna continuously drop, so she might as well join in and like.
Kind of almost has like a sheepish grin, like what the hell, like why not? You know, like she has like the tear, and then it's almost like
If you can't beat them, join them.
yeah,
Exactly.
And like a funny thing, like whenever they fall the first time and they get really dusty, like the first thing the woman does is brushes off her gem.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah, I noticed
that's like an obvious thing of like doesn't brush off her face, doesn't brush off anything else, but
Material
like
possessions.
the materialistic
Materialistic
thing
Mhm.
is like she's so fixated on that.
Then you can also see the building and like the floors as like society and structure that it's like weak and that these people can just break through. I don't know where that thought was going, but
Come on, go on.
it like sets the stage for like for them to fall through.
And to be like a continuous downfall.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I guess we could even talk about like, I mean, this is just America, but like the housing crash. It was just a weak structure that allowed these people like that were too greedy to like fail. I don't know. I don't think that was their intention, but it's
It
kind of relatable.
parallel nicely.
Could you also argue that it's easier to go down in social classes? Like, go
Yeah.
from like dining really nice to eating like scraps.
you know,
Flying through.
And like as it goes on, well, I don't know if this is like also the religious thing. Like it becomes like grosser food. Like all of it kind of looks human. So like dealing with religion, like they turn to cannibalism, which is like one of like the layers of hell. Like you start eating other people or something like that. I don't remember what the.
You know what babies taste like.
illusion.
And I'm trying to think of like how, like I guess with the food pertaining to capitalism, you have like how they literally were eating a rhino. They brought in a rhino on the second floor.
Yeah.
And like everybody knows right now, like do not kill rhinos. Like, I mean, it's just like it's like a bad game to hunt. Like you get bad affiliation with that.
Yeah.
And yet these people are like still doing it, like not like willy nilly, like kind of uncaring.
I think the food really kind of was just like it got more like disgusting. Like it was like it looked like food that we would eat, but you know it almost looked like raw and you wouldn't want to eat it. And
And it was all meat, which is like a lot more expensive than any other food.
and it was like nice, you know, it was like oysters and stuff like that.
It looked like brains inside the oysters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
did.
did.
That was
It
weird.
also could be like it is like flesh, like it is like the butlers are like almost sacrificing these things for them, like giving up human flesh, like and the higher class society just kind of eats it and it's just like willy nilly about like these
Well,
lives that
where
were
it came
lost
from.
and just don't really care. And the fact that they're human kind of just adds to the fact that they just don't care about like the things that they're like using.
Yeah, like they don't care about how they affect or like the effects that their like lifestyle
Mhm.
has on.
It?
Cool. That was the midterm. Thanks, Dr.
Hey,
Hammer.
plus.
Dad.
Sorry.